I'm back for part two. I'm going to try to be a little bit more focused this time. I look back at what I said the first part, and I pretty much believe everything that's said. But I talked about the guy up in Canada that killed himself, but we could also talk about probably the greatest comedic performer of all time, and that's Robin Williams. Now, there have been a couple people that have actually talked about his issues. I mean, there were signs there. You could see some of his interviews talking about alimony, and he was still working. He was working on TV, trying to make enough money to support his previous wives. As you know, that's another thing that men's rights activate. That word is not working out of me for me. Are trying to, get rid of the whole thing where you have to pay alimony for the entire life of a female. This shouldn't be going on in a supposedly equal society. After a certain point, obviously if the man is the main breadwinner, he should support his wife. Of course, the kids should always be supported. But there's nobody that should be given all alimony for life. That shouldn't happen. But, of course, I'm talking about Robin Williams. And if you looked at some of his interviews he made at the end of his life about alimony and other things, and some of the quotes he said about, he said that being alone in a house full of people and still being so alone was the worst thing in his life. And this man was an icon and one of my heroes. But this man, he had his own room. He didn't share the same bed with his wife. Don't know what's going on in that family, but she didn't even look in on him. They found him, hours after he killed himself, and she was in the house or nearby, and it's clear that he was dealing with a lot of things, and people want to say it's addiction that he was under, or he was going back on the coke, or whatever that. But it's clear to me that he was done. He wasn't going to be a slave for the rest of his life to paying off his kids, who are adults, his wives, who are adults, who are not, and people trying to go back and get more money from him. And this is some of the things that men do. I mean, they're not, at some point they have, it's a sum game type of thing. They look at it and say, if I do this and work this long, I will have nothing at the end of it. Or, Christ, I'll just kill myself now. I don't have to deal with all this pain that I'm going to go through. Men can be, killing yourself can be a logical, rational, to yourself thing to do. But it doesn't really, I want to give you guys some sort of information. It's hard for me because I don't know enough about editing and put down links and stuff. And I don't really have the ability to actually bring you everything and say eloquently enough. I would like to point you to a couple of YouTubers that you can watch, and you can learn a bit more about feminism, also about how males and how they actually think, and some other people that are in the men's movement. Some are very smart, satirical, comedians in their own way. And then by looking at that, maybe you'll be able to go to other places and you'll get some more information. And, I know that I'm just a small part in this. And I wish at some point that we could actually have equality. I don't believe in feminism because I don't believe it is that. I believe that at this point it's basically a female supremacy movement. I mean, if they want to be equal, and they'll say that on their videos, they should be egalitarian. They shouldn't be feminists. So, or even humanists for that. You know, me and my wife goes to a humanist church now and then. But there are a lot of feminists there as well. But anyway, let me give you some names that you can look at, and they'll say things a little bit better than me. One is, this is going to be hard because I have to look at things and actually be able to read it and then say it. This is part of the issue that I have with my brain, and one of the reasons why I can't work, because it's hard for me. I was like a tech writer and electrical type thing, so it made it hard for me. But anyway, it's Honey Badger Radio. So it's Honey Badger Radio. If you just go on YouTube and just bring that in, and you'll listen to some of their talks, and these are women that are part of the men's rights movement, and they'll talk to you about female nature, because they're female, and it's hard for a man to come back and say, hey, that's how women are. But these are, a lot of people, the men's rights movement, think that they're trying to, try to get something out of it. I don't care. I just want the fact that they're out there and they're talking about stuff like this. I talked about comedian type of guy. This is a hard one to say. It's Dr. Randa Khan. I'm going to try to spell it. It's Dr. DoctorRandomCam, and he also is part of the Honey Badgers. He does like the animated type stuff, but he responds to a lot of different people about feminism in a satirical type of way, especially like with Emma Watson and her he for she. Probably one of the greatest programs or efforts of female suppression that there is. Also, there's a good fella. He's from England, I believe, or he might be Scotland, but he also does the same thing. Just to let you know, he can be colorful with his words, so if that bothers you, probably shouldn't want to see him. Also, Karen Strawn, otherwise known as Girls Write What. The last name is Straugan. After the G, it's a H, I'm sorry, and A-N. She will tell you a little bit more about feminism and the let's say the misrepresentation of feminism that they try to tell us that women died for their rights for vote and all this stuff, and we'll find out more of that from her. I can tell you right now that the original suffragists were privileged women who didn't want poor women to vote. They just wanted it for themselves, and what they did during the First World War with the white feathers to telling people to go back to war, the shaming that they did in men, because it was such a big thing. If you were given that thing, it was almost like you better go back to war because no one would ever be around you. I mean, it was anybody just go and Google that and find out what they did. It's shocking to me. Also, when we get to like students and talking about Title IX and campus due process, Jonathan Taylor, he's a site developer or web man for a voice for male students. He talks, and he's chronicalized 60 suits that men have come back at school for after being kicked out for just somebody accusing them. I don't know, at some point I may talk about things that I've seen in my life people saying things that I did things just so I could get in trouble. And it's not. It's one of those things when you say that. I'm just going to say it really quick that some of the stats say that only 2% of all rape is false accusations. I'm going to tell you that it's a lot more than that, and I'm not going to say this is female nature, but I've seen it happen, and there are other studies out there that says it's up to 40%. So when you just accuse somebody of doing something, that shouldn't be enough. There should be more than that, and certainly it shouldn't be the staff at a school to knock you out. And finally, the guy that talks about males' issues at the one of the most eloquent and somebody that's dealing with it, somebody that's almost died himself. He's an Aussie. His name is Smetsnash. So it's SPETSNAZ. Now I try to tweet all his videos, retweet them, and I try to put them on my Facebook. I know I see people never watch them, but this guy knows about men, and he says it so well. It's like talking to yourself. And I wish I could talk like him, but he's a hero of mine and to a lot of people in the movement. And he's not really MRA. He's not. He's like he tells us. This is the guy that will tell you about the problems that men face when they're asking for help. That it's just not there's not really a place for them to go. And then when we ask for it, even from other men, and that's something he'd talk about, that men are just as bad as women when it comes to shaming and white knight behavior. Everybody has to protect the woman, although we are apparently, it's another area we talk about. I won't even talk about it because I don't have time to say it. But I've got about 2 or 3 minutes left in this, but I'm not going to say, a lot of people say when things happen, like, I had cancer before, and it's like, well, was it better, are you better for it? Or I had a stroke, does it make you a better person that I haven't had of that stuff? Some people will say things like that, I would have been the person I am now. I don't know if I don't think I ever would be what I am, or what I know. And there's a whole term, like when you actually take the red pill in the men's side, and then you get hangry. You're like, okay. And in the past time, I used to laugh at other men and say, oh, it's funny, see it on TV how we're being hit in the balls all the time. But it's so much more than that, and it's whatever. It's everywhere, and it's applauded, and it's applauded by the guy I voted for twice. And I would think he'd be smarter. He knows. I think he really knows, but he's doing it. He's trying to vote or court the women's vote. But I'm going to stop for now, and then I'll think of other things to talk about. But if you have any questions for me or anything I can do for you when it comes to that, I know soon, I think it's in Houston next year, they're going to have a men's rights conference. Hopefully I'll go. I was going to go this year, but I didn't man up and go. I should have, but I didn't. I was worried about the protest, and apparently there wasn't. And I thought if I was on TV that somebody might see me, and then it would be bad for my wife, and so I stopped. But I'm not going to do that anymore. Thank you for watching. You all have a nice day, and I'll talk to you too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.